All right, everybody, we should be live again. Sorry about that. Let's see if we're out there. See if we're streaming live. Jess or Jonathan, can somebody let me know if we're live and if we got sound?
I am checking us right now.
Says we're live. I see we're live.
From what it looks like we are good.
Yeah. Hope Swedish Linux can find us here. Hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? We're live.
Yep.
Jesse?
We are. We did it. We did it.
I don't know what audio sounds like, and I don't know if somebody could test audio or not, but let me see.
Your audio is good as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, we should have audio. Hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? Yep, we got audio. All right, John Jensen's in the chat. How you doing, John? Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry about if you were anticipating the great reboot that we were doing, but we had some technical difficulties. More like my computer decided to freaking freeze at the most inopportune time, and I went into a little bit of a tirade and knocked my mic loose. So.
Did you get any of it for the blooper reel that Jonathan's working on?
No, it got froze. My whole computer froze.
No, I mean the whole tirade that we came in off of.
No, it was while I was
happen to be recording during
it was while I was booting. It was while I was rebooting. It's like,
hey, John, welcome and thank you for joining us again. We love doing this, and what would we be doing anyway, right, Alex? We'd be messing with Linux.
Yeah, that's literally. I mean,
why not do it with our friends?
That's Linux for you, man. I mean, it's just problematic from best. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I would still, no matter how buggy and how bad Linux is, man. I tell you what, man, I will still take Linux over that bullshit Mac system, man.
Oh, you're coming in hot. You know what? This is why you're so salty, because of what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, today. That's kind of what it is. I'm a little salty because I can't believe we have a Linux Tube channel and we got to talk Mac. Those goody two shoes, good for nothing. Oh, I'm so hoity-toity. I charge you more money than God just to have the same kind of experience.
DT said in the chat, you gotta hit it with the palm of your hand on the side of your tower. DT,
like we did the TVs in the old day.
Yeah, DT, do y'all call that the same thing? I call that the technical tap. Is that what you guys call it?
I wouldn't fix the issue, but it'll make you feel better. No, me throwing my microphone, me throwing my headphones across the room, and slapping my mic almost into a 360 out of the way on the stand made me feel pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a spicy episode of the Linux Tube podcast for y'all today, and it started out of me having a really, really bad day about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had been theming a lot. I had been posting in the Unix porn for our Discord, Danny's Discord, the Zero Linux Discord. I was really feeling myself, and I was on a theming bender, wouldn't you say, Alex?
Yes, you were.
And
you were. What, no, man. A bender wouldn't even classify it. I mean, you were like everywhere with that thing.
I was distro hopping. I was mixing and matching DEs and file managers and panels and bars and whatever. And I was making an attempt to feel Mac inspired.
No.
I was trying to get the Mac experience for free.
I said to him, I was like, "What the? Did you just say what?" I'm like, wow. So that's how you really feel about Linux, huh? Because I believe you said, I'm trying to get Mac.
I don't know.
No, you said no. All I'm trying to do, I don't care about Linux. I'm just trying to get Mac on the cheap.
I did say it like that. I had a crappy day. I had a whole bunch of stuff go wrong at the church I serve for. I had gotten some critiques on stuff that I didn't want. Man, I was taking it
Yeah,
out
you were
on
having a
Linux
bad
that day, and I
week, and that just came out at the top. That was like the final straw.
and so let me take this opportunity to clean up. I don't care about Linux. I just want Mac on the cheap. That's a loaded statement to make, but I did make it. So what I was trying to say is, I don't use Linux because I have this uh plus ideology. I'm not a Stallman, and I am not using Linux because I believe in this, perfect free software only, no proprietary anything. I think that those are good goals. I really do think it's a good goal that everything, could be free if it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not going to keep something useful off my Linux system if it works and happens to be proprietary.
Hey, no, we're all, you know what, man, I could second that feeling because I agree. I always say, I just said it last night in our Discord to somebody, man. Use what works for you, man.
Even if that's Windows.
Yeah.
If you
As
right,
much as
like
as
if
much as
you
that'll decrease the
tried and
amount of
wanna learn
interaction I have with you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
so like
Can't
all
trust
that
those
to
Windows
say,
guys.
oh man. Now I've spent the 2 weeks since this episode was supposed to be done and recorded trying to get that vibe, and it's really, really funny
Mm.
because if you saw my computer right now,
You're gonna share your desktop?
yeah, I'm gonna show my desktop here. I'll go through my couple scenes in OBS. That is not where I ended up. So you see, first, this is just
Oh,
my
you got OBS in
OBS
the middle.
and
Yep.
Discord behind. Um, OBS and
OBS.
Discord behind. There we go. We got the chat, and you see, I got my top bar. This is one of the things that I love about Mac. Um, I'd be using Latte Dock, but it doesn't work great on Wayland. Plank doesn't work great on Wayland, so I am dockless right now, and that's even better. But
Mm-hmm.
all that to say,
So you basically wanted a top bar, which there are
I
countless.
wanted a top bar. Hold on, because I am sure that's not what a Mac looks like.
Oh
My
heck no!
second scene on my other machine, or not my other machine, my other monitor.
I see you're running Cache
And
OS. Nice, nice.
yep, I am running CachyOS, and it is doing good things for me as far as an Arch base. We got Dolphin over here that I haven't quite themed yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all my text themed in my terminals, got my transparency going. Wayland is behaving a treat, and it's all well and good. But I had originally set out to get Mac on the cheap because that's what I thought I wanted. And I think Pipewire gives most of the experience I wanted when it comes to how it handles audio.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very
That
similar
that part I can't
how
argue with
how
you.
Mac works.
That part I can't argue with you on when it comes to Mac. As far as the audio world is concerned, Mac has it hands down. I mean, they own that. Almost to the point
Yeah.
of where well, it's really funny because it's almost to the point of where Windows owned gaming. You know what I mean? But then what came along and
But
destroyed it? What came along and destroyed that part?
Steam
Arch
Deck.
Linux did with the Steam Deck, right? So
Yep.
that's changing, and I think that along the same nodes, you're going to see the same thing happening for Mac with the inception of Focusrite and Pulse Audio throwing their hats in the name of the Sound Spear for Linux.
Right.
And so I think Pipewire is going to get one hell of a boost of an injection, which it actually, if you look at what Pipewire has
Yeah.
done, if you look at what
As
Pipewire has
Pipewire got
done
towards 1.0, it's just leaps and bounds of growth.
yeah, I mean, it's doing well for the short time that it's been around, relatively short time. I mean, and so, I mean, I don't think that Mac is going to be the most sought out after thing anymore.
Well,
Like,
no, you figure
I mean, sure, if you want to spend a whole bunch of extra money.
I think Steam just dropped support for Mac, didn't they?
Yep, they did.
Going forward?
Yeah. I mean, they're doubling down on the whole Linux, Arch Linux Steam Deck thing.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
it's been wildly successful
if you want to spend a ton of money on overpriced stuff, yeah, it's got proprietary software, it's got, their own chipsets and everything fabricated for them. But I mean, you pay for a lot of in Apple products, you pay for a ton of over-engineered stuff.
Well,
that's what you're paying for. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not. But I'm just saying, if you've got the money to spend on it, hey, no problem. But, I know of people that will only deal with MacBook Pro and MacBook Air and all this crap, and they barely got a pot to piss in.
Right, because they've been convinced. It's a branding thing too. The Mac branding in the creative spaces has been done so well. So
Right.
here's what I would say if you were trying to use Linux to get into this vibe that I'm talking about. Not even just the aesthetic, but think about it. Zorin probably is trying to get at it, but they're going about it the wrong way. I think if there was anybody who was going to contend for the Linux as a poor man's Mac, I am going to defend this in a minute, but I think it's going to be Tuxedo and System 76. If anybody is going to get there. And the reason I say that is because on top of controlling their OS and the things that it does, what Apple does well is they control their hardware.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan just said there's a problem when they take an open source chip and make a very small chip and make it proprietary. An example, the BMK 454 versus the BCM 4364.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely sidestepping the proprietary versus GPL versus full open. I am sidestepping licensing. That is not the point of the discussion. Would
well,
you
I'm
agree,
just saying
Alex?
that's what. Yeah, well, yeah, that is not the point of the discussion, but that is definitely
it's a valid point, and we can spend a whole episode just on shady business practices or annoying things that Apple does from a business perspective.
Right.
And that I am saying nothing to the business end of how they operate, just the experience that they tend to create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean,
the hardware and software work together, and they're stable, and it feels easy to use once you get it.
Okay. You know what's really funny is I played on Mac for I have a a coworker of mine's father had a big Mac, one of those full all-in-ones, right? And he locked himself out of it. First off, I'm gonna tell you right now, man, Mac security is a freaking joke.
Oh yeah, you can get into it.
It's a joke. Easily. So he locked himself out because he forgot his password, right? And I brought it home, and I'd never really played with Mac. I'm not kidding you. I only knew the basics of, Linux, right? And what I remember of Windows.
Did you go into a rescue terminal to fix it?
Yep, I sure did. And that was easy as a Google search, man. Legitimately, Google search turned up the key combination to hit to go into rescue terminal, and bam, I didn't even have to know anything about the guy. I had to know there was no like two-factor authentication, no security questions to answer nothing.
If you have physical access to that machine and it has not been disk encrypted, you're gonna get whatever you want.
That is insane. I was like, what? And so I reset the password, gave the guy back his computer like that night. He's like, I thought it was going to take weeks. I'm like, I thought it was going to take a longer time than that too. I said, but it's horsepucky. I said, this computer's horsepucky. He says, well, what should we switch to? I just grinned and I just smiled.
You got one.
And I said, hey, Linux, Linux, Linux.
What did you put him on?
I put him on. I gave him a choice between regular full on Ubuntu or LMD, Mint Ubuntu edition, and he chose Ubuntu edition because it looks similar to Windows. And so I put him on that, and guess what, man? He's never had a problem with that. He's done the update successfully after the first couple I walked him through, and he's been enjoying it. He did learn how to theme it a little bit and played around with it and got comfortable, but he just uses it because it works. It just works.
Yeah. And so yeah, going back to controlling the hardware like Tuxedo and System 76.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that let's take System 76.
So
everybody that we know here in the creator space, we are all excited and holding on to see what System 76 is doing. Rust desktop, Rust Cosmic Desktop.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's really, really going to be optimized for their hardware like it already is.
Yeah.
Their NVIDIA drivers are some of the best in space. Agreed. Like if I know somebody that wants to try Linux with a Optimus machine, I'm gonna start them out on Pop because that Optimus implementation is so good.
Okay.
But
I think
combination...
so what you're looking for, just to be clear, you're looking for a system that looks and is easy to navigate and feels very similar to Mac OS, right?
I want some of...
that has hardware control just like Mac.
Yes, not where you take away the freedom to use whatever you want. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to create a polished, smooth experience, you have to control end to end. If they're, that's I think the biggest...
I'm sorry, DT.
Alex, Linux, it just works. Earlier, Alex, we are having so many technical issues. It's not even funny.
My brother DT, I love you, bro.
What I'm clearly hearing is I need to dump Cashy and move to DTOS.
Yeah.
DTOS. It
just works.
And also, no one is bald.
That's right. No, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I get that, and and that is something that just happens in the world when they're marketing a solid package. They really are, and that's I think what really helps that people is that they market a solid package. But the reality of it is it's not secure. It's susceptible to a lot of different flaws. You're locked into everything with them. Like you can't do what you did with Cashy in any way, shape, or form.
Oh no.
No,
and
you literally pay a buttload of dollars for this to be put in a corner.
Yeah, as I was putting together the system screenshot that you see in the Sprungles, go ahead, roast.
Go ahead, roast away, bro.
But if you guys take a look at the thumbnail for today's podcast, I created that very mundane Apple adjacent screenshot with a lot of work that was used on a Linux Mint base. I don't remember if it was LMD or if it was straight Mint. So I did that. Then I used Kwin as the replacement window manager for Mate's Marco, so that I could pull in the desktop effects like translucency, blur, wobbly windows, and have all the KDE widgets. But
you don't get that in Mac either.
No, and I've been using Kwin so long that I think I confused things that are in Kwin with being Mac inspired, and it's really the other way.
It's the other way around. Yeah. Yeah, that's the funny part. Hearing you admit that.
The closer that I was getting to the Apple experience aesthetically, the less happy I was. And what I realized, the important things I like about a Mac are, top taskbar with menus. I like their dock. I really do, and I love playing.
So wait. So let me ask you about the dock. Now that we're focusing on the dock, because you mentioned that, right? And you mentioned it once before. So what do you like about the dock the most? Is it the pop out icons, the way that they animate and move? Because I mean, a dock's a dock.
I do like that.
Other than that,
I do like
Plank
that.
looks just like it, and so does whatchamacallit, not playing the other one, Latte
What,
Dot.
Latte?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like the animation where it gets larger when you hover over it. It's easier for
Mm-hmm.
me to use. I don't
That can
like
all be done
going
in either one.
right. And but with Wayland you really don't get it. Now all that to say, I don't like the Windows way, like in your start menu
Well,
of going
let me
folder to subfolder to subfolder.
let's walk back something real quick. You said you don't get that on Wayland for the moment.
Right. It's
Yeah.
coming. We all know it's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. So I mean, in the end, then you're going to have the same dock available to you in Linux as you would Mac, and then you're actually going to get the Linux, experience where Mac is
Yeah.
actually, I mean, because I mean,
Yeah. I feel like my security is
honestly
better.
though, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, but what I was really after wasn't an aesthetic as much as I thought it was.
Uh huh.
What I really like is that polished, stable experience that Mac is good at that.
Mm-hmm.
They they don't often have showstopper system breaking updates. They exist. You go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere that's Apple friendly and oh man, this, you
Yep.
know, going to this iteration of Mac OS broke stuff. Like nobody's immune to that.
Well, that's where I
But you see
feel.
it
That's where I feel that. That's where I feel that Mac definitely has an advantage. And it, honestly, is the update process. A lot of their updates are quality updates. Very rarely do they have the one that actually breaks the entire system and causes a total issue where you need to go to the Apple store or whatever to fix some shit. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And
Yeah.
I think that's the difference of proprietaries win over FOSS. And the reason why that is because no, let me explain. The reason why that is because
Sure.
in the FOSS world, if they send out an update that breaks shit, all you get is just a bunch of pissed off people, right? In the proprietary world, if you put out an update that breaks a lot of shit that people paid a lot of money for, now you have a litigation experience. You
Right.
understand what I'm
Well,
saying?
I don't want to replicate that over here. That's for sure.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's the reason why. That's the reason why I think Mac has a win over that is because they have
Oh yeah,
quality
when it's
engineers
people's
that are
literal
actually,
livelihood to make sure it
yeah,
works.
exactly. And that's where I think if the FOSS world were to implement that same type of ethic over what they're doing and putting that same emphasis on, it would be a different story. Because right now, I think the FOSS world people, they have that mentality of when they're writing software updates or creating new programs and software, they're like, well, if it works, it works. It works for me, it's good. You know what I'm saying? They don't feel the need to make sure that it works for everybody across the board. They're like, oh well, if it doesn't, no worries, go try something else. You know what I'm saying? Because
I think that's a bit of an oversimplification. I think you definitely have a spectrum of people all throughout the community, both FOSS and FLOSS. The Free and Libre.
mhm.
I think it really comes down to the maintainer and the team that maintainer has
Well, that's what I'm
and the
saying.
tools that they have.
It's their mentality and
The
their
more
approach
the
to it.
more people are putting into it, the closer to a proprietary experience you're gonna have as far as that.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That's where Mac has the win because they put that emphasis on everything because it's a livelihood, it's their thing. Whereas with Floss, a lot of people, it's not their livelihood, it's a hobby, it's a project, it's whatever. So therefore that importance of making sure that it just works and works quality across everything can be hit or miss.
It can be, and that's the same for independently developed programs for any OS. I've definitely had projects that I've tried to run on my Windows machines back in the day or
Mm-hmm.
Mac, like somebody makes up a tool or a utility or a different thing for those OSs, and you can tell in the quality of those what they're working with too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair point. But like I said, with
But I
Mac,
think I think you'll see it less on those because people don't look for open source stuff as much on Windows or Mac.
right. So with Mac, basically what you crave for isn't so much I would say not the quality, but the consistency, okay, of the applications,
Yeah.
Quality. But you more are driven towards the pretty, the flashbang, the aesthetic, eye pleasing stuff of it, like the Windows animations, the icons, which I think are ugly as shit. They could do for a
Which
good
icon?
icon revamp. All of them, all their icons.
Oh, the Mac icons, I'm not super into. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I like is the polish experience, and Mac and Linux are similar also in the way that to get it tailored for the way you want to work
Mm-hmm.
does take longer because there are more options than, say, Windows. Like,
Well,
people like Windows, the ones that like it because you leave it alone. You don't mess with it. You don't really customize it. If you want a program, you buy one. If you want a tool, you buy one. And you have your kind of industry standard, this is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, it's a little bit more like, oh, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. And it might take you a while to kind of craft your workflow. And Linux can be either one of those, or you can wind up with like the how do I want to say this? Like, you bought your OS from IKEA and you get it home and you have to put it together yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's your Gentus, that's your LFS, that's some of your Arches.
Right. Some of your more in-depth builds.
Yeah, your OpenSUSE even to a point.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was when I said that, I had just gotten to that point where everybody in the chat, everybody who watches this will hit this point if you haven't already. You will hit points in your career as a Linux user where you are tired of screwing with your computer and you just want to use it. You're tired of fixing it. You're tired of updating it. You're tired of tweaking it to get it to work. And that's kind of what you saw, Alex, when I don't care about Linux. I just want Mac on the cheap. Because, this year, Pipewire's been growing leaps and bounds. Wayland's been growing leaps and bounds. X is going, extinct, and, that whole mess. I'm trying to figure out a system where I can...
Hey, Arch Penguins in the chat. Welcome back, Arch. How you doing?
I can just set it and forget it, and then use something like snapshots on B3FS.
Mm-hmm.
Where if I do something catastrophic trying to set it up, I can reset myself to a reset point.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Arch? So that's really what I like about Mac, not their business practices, not really their whole aesthetic, just a few ways that they do things, and then the stability of once you set it, as long as you don't do something stupid, it's going to work.
You mean like tinker with it?
Yeah, like tinker with it.
So then my next question is, do you think that when you just start if Mac were as open as Linux is, do you think that you would tinker with it? Because I think
Probably.
which would
undo
everything that they did.
Some of the things that make it is what it is. You're right.
So my thing is this, the Mac will get boring to you. Only difference is you can't distro hop to another version of Mac because they only make one. You can't distro hop to another version of Mac that could add a little flair, a little whatever.
Has to be an obsolete sucks too.
Yeah.
So I'll say that before we get blown up in the chat. Well, they plan obsolescence. You are absolutely right.
Yep. So you can't do that. So then, in essence, how long, honestly, especially knowing, how many times have you distro hopped in the last month?
I don't want to answer that question on stream. That's rude.
But in all fairness, you are not the only one. So in all fairness, you're not. That seems to be a thing for a lot of Linux people, man. We love to distro.
Yeah, and it seems like the more, the easier it is to recover from a hop, the more we're going to do it.
Exactly. So, Sprungle said he's done 17. Holy crap.
17 this month?
Wow. So Arch Penguin says, God bless the devs at Open Core. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that being said, you can't do any of that with Mac, and you will get bored with Mac. So my question to you, and just asking those two questions, how long do you think you would have paid all that gaggle of money for Mac and actually gotten bored with it and been like, whatever,
Well,
and found displeasure? Honestly, just being honest. This is a fair question. Because I wonder, like, I don't know that answer. I don't. Your answer is going to be appropriate no matter what you say.
I don't either, because if I had if I had the money to buy that experience, I'd also probably have the money to buy the hardware that makes it painless, to buy the software that makes it painless, and I wouldn't have to create my own workflow.
Fair point, but I still think that you by nature, because it's your nature, would have gotten bored and been like, "Wow, I paid all this money for this." What? What'd you say?
Sorry.
Oh,
x86 Macs have terrible thermals. I absolutely 100% can agree.
yeah. Go
The
ARM if you do it.
Yeah, the last
Hey, Justin.
one,
Enrichment. Itchman.
Elrickman.
Elrickman.
I think that is Ehrlichman. Is that right?
He
Justin?
themed Debian and Plasma to look exactly like Mac OS, and he's glad I went through the route rather than buying a Mac or going Hackintosh. There you go.
Nice. So, all that to say, had I not worked for Apple,
Mm-hmm.
I would have never discovered Linux.
That's
Working
funny.
there in
That's funny.
Because most of us in the call center couldn't afford what we were supporting, and I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I worked there, it was a long time ago. I'm talking maybe Snow Leopard era.
Okay.
And we've come leaps and bounds about all the things that I ever thought was cool about a Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And, going back to audio production for a second, because Arch Penguin's using a Hackintosh as a DAW. I think that's a good reason to do it.
Oh wow.
But
nice.
I would say that a well-tuned Linux system with Pipewire is going to be miles more stable than a Hackintosh.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
If for no other reason, then you do not have a proprietary company trying to break that system for you.
Or he could actually
They
try
do-
throwing in like a distro box Ubuntu and install the Studio One DAW onto it and give it a whirl.
Or, I mean, most people that are using a Hackintosh now,
Mm-hmm.
if you have AMD graphics, the better way to go is to do something Arch based. Set up Proxmox is Debian based.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you wouldn't use Proxmox there. You would use Vert Manager, like QEMU, KVM, do GPU pass through and actually virtualize
Mm-hmm.
your Hackintosh rather than building one.
Yeah.
Neuro DSP won't work. Okay, so Arch Penguin is a guitar player after my own heart.
Yeah.
Much respect. Neural DSP takes everything that I like about ToneLib GFX,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much more. Like
Puts it on crack.
DSP is one of the Neural DSP is one of the most respected guitar suites in the industry. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. It puts out some absolutely amazing guitar tones, metal stuff. It's great.
Metal.
So good.
Yeah. Metal for sure, baby.
Yeah. So
He's
it's really
sung in
funny.
many bands doing metal.
Trying to get to the Mac experience pushed me away from the Mac experience. It made me realize that I wanted pretty to look at, and I wanted stable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily Mac. It just means I want bougie Linux.
So
I didn't want
bougie.
Mac.
Yeah,
I
there
wanted
you go.
bougie
Bougie Linux. That's what you want, man. Bougie ass
I
can
want
be
bougie
Linux.
Linux.
BAF, man.
You know,
Bougie as fuck Linux.
I'm bougie.
Yeah.
That's it. As I'm sitting here in my, Hot Topic Christmas sweater, let's just call it what it is.
So DACAP Paris has joined the chat. Thanks, brother. How you doing? Nice to see you. And he says my Hackintosh on Intel iGPU works without any issues. That's awesome.
I am so glad because, every once in a while, Apple does put out an update that seems at least intended to break all the Hackintosh different utilities and tools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one thing you really have working against you if you're trying to do a Hackintosh is
Finding the appropriate
this
hardware.
OS update. Right. Not even just that, like, is the latest update gonna break it?
Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, well, there you go. That's, but it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because
they're having the Arch experience.
Exactly. I was just going to say that sounds a whole lot like Arch. Us Arch guys are always like, you see that updates, you have X amount of packages ready for update, and you're like, and you go like this, you close your eyes real quick, you click real quick, hopefully the experience goes by real quick.
Right, you type that reboot with almost a little bit of
trepidation, yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
about this, man.
Yeah. So then, in your endeavor for getting your bougie as fuck Mac experience, okay, you got your boo boo going on here. You wound up on CashieOS. It looked, from what you shared, pretty tricked out. So in essence, you learned a whole lot less of what you wanted about Mac, but a whole lot more of what you wanted in Linux, and you were actually able to get it.
Right,
and you found out that you actually liked Linux more than Mac?
Oh, it was never that I liked Mac more. It's just I finally sat down and put in some of the effort to polish up my Linux experience, and it was more reading than I wanted to do, and it was more, digging than I wanted to do, and I don't have a problem with doing it if I have no easy way to do it.
So you say you wanted the Mac experience on Linux in the laziest way possible.
Correct.
Got you. And that's not poking fun at you.
You got to remember, I stayed away from Arch, period, until maybe 2-3 years ago. Because I got into Arch by way of Garuda.
Oh, okay. And that was undoubtedly because it was so flashy?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. You've seen my studio. You've seen how my desk is set up. I don't spend money on performance. I spend it on RGB. I'm a fraud.
Oh, did that hurt?
Did that hurt?
Did that hurt?
It hurt a little bit.
But you know what, man? Welcome to the episode of Getting Real with Jesse.
Oh, man. So I guess this is a good time for us to start to transition. In a few minutes, I'll bring Melissa into the podcast.
Well, all I want to say is this, man. Before we end the segment on the Mac thing, all I want to say is this, man. I'm just poking fun at you. You know I love you like a bro.
Oh,
you know
100%. Man. It's all love.
The reason what spawned this entire thing was when you said that out of your mouth. I don't care anything about Linux, but I just want Mac on the cheap. It blew my mind because I had never in a million years ever thought that people would think that way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just not that it's not possible, but I mean, I've never ran across it, and it never crossed my mind as to how many people out there are actually trying to do that with Linux, and what kind of experience are they having with it? Maybe those are some of the ones that get so frustrated and walk away. And I was like, wow. And that's why I wanted you to talk about it. And I didn't expect, it was great that it got delayed because in essence, you were able to work through it and show what you did to work through it and how it worked. So basically your answer to them would be read more about documentation and what's capable. Then 2, don't give up. Keep trying. Something's out there for you.
Oh, 100%. I love the ease of, and I was trying to get the easier distros to do what I wanted, and they had a lot of the features that kept me from getting what I wanted were features that were stability, enhancing, or stuff like GNOME not letting you tweak it's very Mac-like.
Right. And and it's funny because
So,
one thing I want to bring up to point to what we were just saying and what I'm saying is DT had made a video recently on why people leave Linux after they start, and he had that I can't
it
remember
was a
that
great
curve.
video.
Yeah, it was a great video where he had the curve on there and showing where people tend to give up more, quickly, when if they would have just pushed through, they would have reached the breaking point and actually been back where they're like, I got this, I learned this, and I know now I'm confident in it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you're
Yeah.
at. That's where you have done. You went past that curve now. You've gotten real confident. And I'm proud of you, brother, for doing what you did, man.
Well,
So,
there's a real rut you get stuck in when you know enough, but not necessarily quite what you want, and it's really when you push through it.
right. And that's funny because that's something that I learned a long time in life with the other different experiences. It's always the same, and no matter what experience, just push through it, keep on trucking, you'll get there. So that wraps up our segment on the Mac experience on Linux. It was good, Jesse. I'm glad you opened up and you talked about it. That was awesome. Hopefully people can learn some stuff.
I just wanted bougie Linux, so that's going to be our short for the week.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
awesome.
just wanted bougie Linux. That's all I wanted.
So we're going to transition now because about 2-3 weeks ago, no, it was about 2 weeks ago, right? 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
You and your beautiful significant other sat down and installed Kubuntu on her laptop.
Yep.
And you guys did it, and I remember the coolest part was, we're going to head and welcome Melissa on. Melissa, can you slide over just a little bit more to get into the frame? There you go. So the part that I thought was the funniest in that whole video was how she was playing with the wobbly windows. I love my wobbly windows. I love my wobbly windows. I mean, she was just having so much fun.
I've even got them over here to hold her attention and wobble the window right towards the camera, so she's looking right at you guys.
So first off, Melissa, how you been doing? Oh, I can't hear you. Talk into the mic.
Oh. Okay.
Nice.
How's that?
Go. I'm just loud.
So you are okay. So is Kubuntu still on your laptop?
Yep, sure is.
Nice.
I haven't had any issue whatsoever. I was saying that it's kind of a typical.
She keeps cutting in and out. It's like the noise gate keeps shutting her down a little bit.
I'm trying to get comfortable in, and I keep scooting away.
Yeah. We're fitting two people into
in
a
one
studio
spot.
space.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So you can honestly say what now?
It was like a typical experience. Like, I opened a box and I have a computer and it hasn't given any issues. And I think I've only done one group of updates so
Mm-hmm.
no issues, any issues with speed.
Good.
I've been playing games.
So what games have you been playing with it?
What was it called? King of Crabs?
Yeah.
It's like Crab Fortnite.
It's like Crab Fortnite. Okay. So you haven't had issues with your graphics card or anything like that? No.
Nope.
How about navigation?
Yep. Fine. The only time I had issue with navigation is when we were looking how to change the brightness on my computer.
Oh yeah, we did have a little bit.
Yeah.
But why that's an extra challenge for me is just because my eyes are really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm looking at a screen that's way too bright for too long, it's blinding. So
on that aspect, because that's something that not a lot of people talk about, is people that have special needs and being able to do things for accessibility wise on Linux. You were able to find the graphics, the graphics, the text, and all that stuff appropriate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's actually easier to set up accessibility stuff in Linux than it is in Windows.
Once I knew where it was, it's not an issue anymore.
See, that's awesome. This is what I think a lot of people, I mean, I know you're not exactly new to Linux. You've tried it before. So you kind of had the first rough pass. What was it that made you leave Linux then?
I just got a Windows and I didn't have to worry about it anymore. I didn't want to have to do the upkeep of what Linux typically requires.
Mm-hmm.
And I especially didn't have anybody to support me if I came across any issues. Because if I get over frustrated, I'm going to be like, no, it's dead to me. I don't want to touch it anymore. I don't want
You're
to see it.
dead to me.
You'll throw it out the window and buy another one.
You're
Yeah,
like,
so for the health of our
you-
relationship, I'm gonna back away for a minute. Yeah, I just bought, a Best Buy laptop and
mm-hmm.
said, okay, and then didn't really think about it. So,
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I also want to mention that I have kept dark mode on the laptop.
that's right, because
which
you
is
got
new
super
for
chatted
me.
by Nate for
Yeah,
that.
well, I wasn't gonna necessarily keep it, but I'm pretty willing to entertain most things to like actually see if I don't like it or not.
But yet you kept it.
Um yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because the difference that I note is for like I have an Android phone and
Hmm.
I was using Windows. It's usually like harsh black on harsh white,
Mm-hmm.
which for me is equally as hurtful as what just comes, standard,
Right.
not dark mode. So it's equally painful. It doesn't do anything for me because it's just see like Jesse has it right now where it's white text on black
Mm-hmm.
and the white text is blending together because of the heart and it's not a criticism.
No,
Look
no,
at
no,
your
I get
computer.
that.
Oh, no, it is a
No, for me,
criticism
it worked. For
hardcore.
me,
Look at me over here
Yeah.
shit stirring.
Yeah, like I
Burn
can,
the witch.
sorry if I wasn't born, 200 years earlier. But no, so like the words are blending together and
Right.
I can't read them.
As
But
a
the way
person with
that
visionary
Linux-
problems, I can understand. I empathize with you. Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. But the way that it's done, the way whatever it was that I set it as, because there were like a couple of different options. It plays with contrast in a different way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it uses different shades of like.
It's really nice to look at.
It's
Mhm.
very nice. It's been very, very helpful. It hasn't really given me any trouble. And I
Maybe
like
that's
that.
why
I
I'm
was
such a
very
fan of dark
surprised.
mode, because you'll see me in a lot of my videos whenever I do distro reviews. The ones that come up
Mhm.
blindingly, glaringly white, I blast all the time. Why don't you guys make
Right,
it dark by
Yeah,
default? You know what I mean? Just make it dark by
Yeah.
default, and then let people switch to white. Because far pure, what the hell is that? Pew pew. Anyhow, far fewer people
Mhm.
use the light mode versus the dark mode. Most everybody switches to dark mode because it's glaringly, blindingly white, and or at least find a different shade of white than the historical one that everybody uses. Jesus Christ. There are many different shades of white, you know what I mean?
Well, there's something that I discovered. I was reading a ton of articles on UX and UI experience when I was trying to steer towards a more polished experience. What people don't like about light mode actually isn't the color white. They set their backlight too high.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's white, the light itself is too bright.
Fair enough.
Try light mode after you try turning your backlight down.
Yeah,
Fair.
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
It's still, I don't know, man. It's just, for me, like you, I get dark mode. I found found dark mode and I fell in love with it. There are a few things, like sometimes some text gets a little lost on occasion, but you know what? It's so minimal and so few that I'm like, okay, I could live with it, and there's no problem with that. So I'm glad that you stuck with dark mode and that you're enjoying it.
Kind of at.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What was the question?
No, I said I'm glad. I'm just capping on what you said, that I found a similar experience that was great, and I was surprised at how well it worked, and now I've fallen actually in love with it, and that's all I ever use. And I'm glad that you found that and that's helped you out, even though it was a super chat. Then a dare to do that was cool. But in the end, so overall, your experience with Kubuntu is the stability's great, the updates went flawlessly. You found a new mode of visual experience that you actually are pleasantly surprised and enjoying, and you're able to game your games on it. No problems whatsoever, right? Now,
Yeah.
to a degree, are you playing games that are kind of GPU intensive, or are they ones that you would play run of the mill find on standard hardware? Or do you not know that?
Run of the mill, I'd say.
King of Crabs is hardly a AAA title. Like that, if that's what you mean. There's even a mobile version of it.
Okay.
So I don't think it's super GPU intensive.
Okay.
Because like what I want to be playing, what I want to get, I was talking about Fable. I haven't tried.
Dude, I've played that I actually did a video of me playing Fable on Linux.
It's so bad. One day.
Yep.
We'll hit bills first.
Yeah. Yeah. We do not have new game budget
We do not have Fable money right now.
Well, I got it. I played it on Steam. I got it through Steam, and I
know.
And so I don't know. I'll talk with you guys offline about that. Okay, I will.
Okay.
But
how was your experience playing?
So,
do you think she's gonna have trouble since it's an NVIDIA card?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, it worked. Well, no, actually, because I did do it with my 660 Ti, and it was fine. It played just fine. It's supported by Proton really well. I mean, it works great. And you know, like I said, you can see the video. It's on the channel where I was playing Fable. I think it was Fable 2. Actually, I have Fable and Fable 2.
I think you recorded that before I joined the team.
Yeah. So it's on there.
You know what? Sorry, you know what got Fable on my radar?
What?
I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm trying to think.
No, that's fine.
The games that I've been playing on the computer so far, I've just, for what I've had the time for, is like Among Us, King of Crabs. I think I've played some Mario Kart sprinkled in there, but obviously on Switch. So it's not very heavy on anything that my computer can do. Since Fable is older, even though if it is the remastered, is it any more powerful than it would be anyway? Like, what should we be using to put my computer through the ringer, you know?
Oh,
something like
Gods of War, Gods of War. One that from back in the day that actually puts the paces through is Jesus Christ, it's Oblivion. But what was the other Oblivion one? The Skyrim. Yeah, Skyrim will put it through some paces. You know, Oblivion, Skyrim, Cyberpunk is another one that'll put it through some paces.
I was just talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to play with it and take suggestions, you know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna push it.
That could be a stream that you guys could do. You guys could get on the channel and do a stream and do that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I could do that over on mine. We just do a stream of games and see how you like it.
See how my computer performs.
Yeah. And
do like a stress test.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So for you guys in the chat or watching later on, Melissa and I have just about identical hardware. Her PC is an MSI, mine's a Dell, but the hardware is more or less the same. And by today's standards, our laptops are kind of old. We have a 10th gen Intel CPU, i5 4 cores, 8 threads. Then I've got 64 gigs of RAM, and she has 32. And then I have a 1650 Ti, and your graphics card is a little better than mine. She's got the 1660 and 2 extra gigs of VRAM.
Nice. So it all works flawlessly. It's working well. You're gaming. You're doing everything. Is there anything that you think that could be changed to make a little bit better that you may not know how to change it so far?
Not yet.
Not yet. So it's
not yet.
Surprisingly, if I dare say it, but literally, so far it's the best distro for you.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have just gone to the store and like, hi, I need a laptop, bought it, and they'd be like, here you go, just remember to do your updates. And it's a little bit different, you know, it's a slight learning curve. But that's all. I wouldn't be any the wiser.
So then maybe I should, instead of recommending Linux Mint to people, I should start recommending Kubuntu to people.
Well, I mean, it's the same base.
I mean, in all honesty, you put that on my radar now. What I like about it is the the flexibility that I could show them with it more than you can with Linux Mint, as far as, because it's Kubuntu, it's KDE on it, so there's a ton more customization abilities that are there than you can over Mint. I mean, you can customize those, but not as easily as you can, like GUI driven wise as you can. That's one thing that I would think is a very big plus if they're trying to find something to customize. It's a lot easier for them because there's GUIs for it everywhere throughout KDE.
Yeah.
Have you used Terminal
I would even
for anything? You haven't had to touch Terminal at all for one time?
No.
I think there was something that I did it for you.
I didn't even see you do it.
Yeah, I think I did a few things on stream, but other than that, you haven't asked me for help with anything except, hey, where is the backlight setting? And that was it.
Yeah, because I couldn't see the screen.
So that reads the next. I have two more questions. One, are you afraid of Terminal, honestly? Of getting into the Terminal world? Yeah. Okay, that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
That's why I've done quite a few videos. I've done quite a few videos on using the Terminal for that reason. So if you ever need to, find out something about Terminal, please, check out the videos on the channel.
Well, it is not the terminal that is the problem. It is the user that is the problem, because the dyslexia will hit really, really, really hard. In specifically in terminal-esque situations, it is hell for me. Like, it is just the worst place for my brain to do anything, and I will make a mistake and I won't even see it, and I will die on a hill. Like, no, that I typed exactly what that says.
I get it,
because my brain is reading it correctly.
So that would be that.
Right.
So basically, if there was a terminal out there that existed with autocorrect in it, it would be perfect for you. But the problem with that is it wouldn't be a good coding. It wouldn't be a good coding terminal.
No, I depend on autocomplete.
Yeah.
When I use Terminal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't use it.
I will argue with people. I'm like, no, it is right. That is what that says.
Oh, I know. I live with you.
So then the second question that I had for you is, in your humblest of opinions, since there's nothing that really needs to be fixed on it, and it's great, and you were to rank it from 1 being the least positive experience to 10 being the one that you would recommend to the President of the United States or any dignitary, where would you put that at, honestly? Huh?
Yeah, a 10.
Oh, a solid 10. Wow.
Yeah. If Obama asked me which Linux he should use, I'd tell him to use this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't think Biden would be able to get it, but he's trying real hard.
He did not say that. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love you. High five.
I
High five.
I can say that.
That's awesome.
I elected that official. I can say what I want.
Well, no, you could recommend it to him because sleep works.
Yeah.
What? Was it a joke that I didn't get?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
You could recommend this Linux to Joe Biden because sleep works.
He needs to take more naps.
No, he's definitely trying.
You need to let him.
Jake Dahlstock said, wait, y'all got autocomplete in your terminals? I can't get it working.
Regular standard Bat has autocomplete.
Tab. We were talking about tab, hitting the tab button. Like when you're typing something, you hit
Absolutely.
tab, it'll do it. So, that is awesome.
So,
I'm glad. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jesse. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I'm actually showing her. You guys can't see, but I've got a terminal here in front of her, and I think that it's too small for her. So let's see.
Control, or you hit control and then plus on
there we go, and plus.
I can see that better now.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you wanted to do an update, so it would be different from me because I'm using Arch right now. But if you wanted to install something, then you can tab and it'll do all these choices. And if I wanted to do it, then I would just hit.
Did you just blow her mind right here on camera? That is so cool.
So
and
if you wanted to autocomplete in the terminal, if you had to fix something, there are things that will help you.
Gotcha. You know what my problem is? Another one of my problems that I have when it comes to Linux, that I remembered because I forgot this was an issue.
Is this going back to your puppy days?
Yes. Okay. You, you know how that goldfish brain thing works? Where like you go into a room and you forget what you're supposed to be doing?
Oh, Dory.
Like,
Yeah, Dory. Finding Nemo, yeah.
I'll forget like the word for steam. I'm like, I want to go to that one application. What's it called? A locomotive? Like what? I
Yeah.
can't remember. And then I will sit there for minutes and just get mad and like have to walk away because I can't remember what I was doing. That's tough when I forget what it is that I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
looking for. Just because, well, that's how my brain works.
I mean, that does happen because like Linux programs can sometimes be named like weird things because
Oh,
people
yeah,
want to be
especially if you're
clever
trying to do a
and-
flat pack. God almighty, Jesus. There is no
Right.
rhyme or reason why they name their shit the way they do, man. It's just horrible. You know, it's just
Yeah, that
So-
pisses me
that's
really
the
bad,
worst
too.
the worst nomenclature for applications on Linux has got to be flat
Yeah.
pack. They've got to be the worst.
Now,
Hands down.
for you, what I would do is I know you don't like the desktop icons all over the desktop
But yeah,
because that gets messy.
that's what my thought went to
What I
too.
like
Set up a little desktop icon for her. You know, so that
Yes.
she can just click
Well,
on it.
instead of a desktop icon, I really think what you would enjoy more is the taskbar having the icon in it
Yeah, I would.
because that's super easy and I can show you how
Yeah,
to do that.
you can
for
do that
yourself.
too. Yep.
And I'm
Pinning them
gonna
to the taskbar.
probably- I'm probably going to suggest that, especially if you're only using a laptop screen, your productivity will get better if you put your bar at the top versus the bottom because it's right up there
Yeah.
and you don't have to like look down towards the
Yeah.
bottom.
You can move that too very
It's
easily.
a little bit of a workflow change.
So
but
are
a
you
lot
trying
of
are you trying to
Linux-
get are you trying to get her on the bougie Mac experience too?
Oh, of course.
Anyhow, listen, guys.
Look, man,
we-
look. My Chemical Romance wallpapers do a lot to convince people.
She's shaking her head no. She's telling the whole truth right there. She's like, nope. No, that's awesome. Listen, guys, man, we've gone a little bit over, but it's so worth it. Melissa, it's always great having you on. I'm glad that you were here. I'm glad that your experience is going so well with Linux and that you would actually recommend it and that you're sticking with it. I'm glad that you learned some cool stuff and you were pleasantly surprised. All in all, and Jesse, I'm glad that you got your Mac-like experience and you're happy and you're not flipping out on people no more, which is awesome.
Man, I was having a rough week that week, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, we love you both, man. You guys are awesome part of the channel and part of the channel experience. So, you know, I'm gonna say the same thing that we say. We'll just go ahead and close out the show from here, man. Been a great ride, man, and we're just going to keep on doing what we do. We're going to keep on Linuxing. We're going to stay blessed, stay safe, and above all, we'll see you guys in the next one.